Hello, Cardinals. It's Mr. Mon, and we're going to talk about Investigation 7.3, Analyzing Weather Data. Our focus question for today is, how are the pieces of weather data related to one another? So we're going to be doing a little bit of looking at the data that we've collected over the past handful of days, and we're going to be putting that into graphs and analyzing it. Before we do that today, we want to look back at patterns that you see. Yesterday, you should have looked at a map, a 3-day series of maps, and then observed where the low pressure and the cold front and the warm front all moved and what the associated weather was with that. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then after looking at the maps, we're going to talk about what patterns we noticed. Today's objective for 7.3 is to collect and analyze data to provide evidence for changes in weather conditions and make weather predictions. So 7.3, you're going to look and analyze at all the data that you've collected. So in 7-1, you should have created a giant data table, and that data table is going to be put into graphs. You're going to discuss any patterns that you see in the data and how the data compares with your predictions. So you're going to be sharing your data with your groups and then looking at the data, making some predictions. You're going to discuss with your group how to make 6 different graphs for the 6 different variables. So you should have done some things like barometric pressure, relative humidity, wind speed, total precipitation, highs and lows temperatures. You can decide, do you want to make 6 different graphs or maybe combine them into one? You can do line graphs or bar graphs. How are you going to plan to set them up? And for each of them, you need to think about the increments that you need to use and the units, and then label the X and Y axis and get all of that finalized. You're going to plot your data on student sheet 7.3. That's basically just graph paper. And then you need to decide whether or not yours is going to look like your group's. You can do it all the same, or you can do it independently. It's up to you. After you've gotten everything graphed, you're going to decide to answer the questions 5A through. There's a whole bunch of them. 5A says, did you observe any large changes in temperature, barometric pressure, relative humidity over the observation period? What do you think caused these changes? What are the relationships between your graphs? Does one variable seem to change in tandem with another? So basically, you're going to be going through all of these, looking for relationships and connections between all the different data. And looking at your graphs will help you with that. You're going to talk about what's the most interesting part of the observations you had, and then explain why it was interesting and what it taught you about weather and weather predictions. So you're going to find the most interesting observation and write about that information. Your teacher will probably have a couple videos for you, and one of them is going to be on types of weather. So finally, you're going to be doing Investigation 7.3, Analyzing Weather Data. Like I've said before, you're going to be using the data from 7.1 to create a graph or multiple graphs in 7-3, and then analyzing all that information in a series of questions. When you get done, you could read Lesson 7 Reflection, or all of the articles on textbook pages 111 to 117. If you have any questions, please let your teacher know, and have a great day, Cardinals.